You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neal.
Sounds like we're going to be extra serious today, Neal.
We're very serious today. Matt and Jeff are in the studio. How are you both?
Matt? That's really weird. Well, me, I guess.
Ken and Jeff are in the studio. I was just seeing if you're paying attention. Ken and Jeff are in the studio.
I'm just numbering my paper for the game.
All right.
This is business.
We have a game coming up.
Got games.
Speaking of
Did I
games...
show up to the right podcast? I thought this was where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of body horror.
Yeah, right. That's what it
I
should
wish.
be. We're almost at October, or maybe this is October, knowing when the release is. Yeah.
This will come out in October.
Yeah, so this is October, so it is a lot of body horror. Well, speaking of games, I'm not sure how this is going to, culminate or end here, but my beloved Collingwood Magpies have made the grand final, the Super Bowl of Australian football, so we'll see how that pans out next week.
How the Swans doing?
Oh, Swans are very eliminated, so it's going to be Collingwood versus...
I thought they were good.
They are good. They're Brisbane Lions. It was almost Carlton and Collingwood in the grand final. It would have been insane.
I know. You know, the real sad thing is they have YouTube TV, but apparently AFL is an additional premium now. So.
Oh, boy. Well, you can get the app like I have and watch anytime you want, but...
Should I just get on my VPN and pretend I'm from Australia?
This episode sponsored by whatever app that is.
Watch AFL. Well, speaking of Watch AFL, Matt isn't here. He's actually went to Australia because he thought he had to go all the way there to watch footy, but he could have just done it from the comfort of his own home. So we wish him luck, and maybe he'll be, he'll what's the thing from Simpsons, the boot or whatever? They make fun of Australians. What's that?
Oh, it's like punishment.
Punishment,
yeah.
Yeah, so the punishment, he'll get punished over there. I don't know I know people who watch Simpsons know what I'm talking about, but anyway, well, Matt's not here, but we have someone to replace Matt, an even stronger, more intelligent, and more attractive Matt, arguably, and that is Matt Takimoto, coming to us from the Bay Area. He's an Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. That was a very flattering intro. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're going to be our host today, which we're super excited about. I know folks have been hearing you on Bloodsport, and if they're hearing this episode, that means they know that you're in the final 8, sort of the championship original traditional Bloodsport. So congratulations on that. But remind folks who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah, so great to be back, everybody. My name's Matt. I teach the 5th grade in Oakland, California, live in the Bay Area, do a lot of probably too much recreational trivia on the side, but I've now kind of turned it into an official side hustle because by the time this airs, I will officially be the newest co-host of the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, Sports Trivia,
nice.
for those of us who rode the Pine, available
Never
wherever
heard
you
of
get
it.
your podcast from, friend of the show, and friend of our guest today, who's a regular and a beloved member of the bench, so excited to be here.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for being here, and congratulations on that. We love all the bench warmers over there, so congratulations to all of you for getting Matt and for making the team stronger. And yeah, speaking of our guests, we thought it would be fun to have someone who might answer questions on the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast that are sports-related, but we wanted to give him more of a classic triviality game because he's one of our initial listeners, someone who's been on the show many different times. We're so excited to have him back. Savage Superstar on Patreon. Phil Sanford, how are you, Phil?
Doing pretty good, Neal.
Well, thank you for being here as always. We love seeing you. Remind folks what you're up to.
Yeah, so my name is Philip Sanford. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. As the Triviality guys always give me a hard time about it, is I outside of my like regular job, which is just a regular office job that I do for my living room, I do all sorts of different running things. I'm currently training for the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. That's going to be just over a month from now, and at the end of October. And then, let's see, I'm president of Charlotte Running Club. I host a weekly run at a brewery that's around the corner from my house. I used to be a race director for a charity 5K, but I stepped away from that this year because it was a little too much because it took place like right in the middle of my busy season at work. So it took a step back from that. Now I'm just like a regular committee member with that, which is perfectly fine with me. And I know Matt talked about my different ventures with the Benchwarmers, mostly playing. But my next time I'll be on there is I'm going to be hosting a basketball specific episode that we're going to be recording that first week of October. I'm not sure when.
Sweet.
Basically to drop right around the time like the NBA and college basketball season starts.
Very nice.
That's awesome. So should we be calling you Mr. President then?
No.
Okay. So no Mr. President. But you are in our hearts. We love that you're a runner and you're very good at it. So we love to call you the Marathon Man here. So I think, Phil, we'll partner together and inspired by the name Marathon Man, we're going to be team Is It Safe?
And since your team Is It Safe, we'll be Dustin Hoffman's Root Canal.
All right. Well, if you haven't seen the movie Marathon Man, none of these references will make sense. But if you check it out, then they will. But we're excited to play the game. Matt, any reference or any preference for the rules read?
There's a Patrick Warburton one, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think let's go Patrick Warburton today.
All right, we'll bust out
Great.
Patrick
Haven't
Warburton.
heard that one in a while.
Yeah.
Rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds, worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there will be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated, have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. End of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Crop rules everything around me.
It's all coming together.
Yeah, it's all coming together. Yeah, that's right. Well, cool. Matt, let's throw it to you. We're ready to play.
All right, sounds good. So this game does have a theme. It's not a very difficult to parse theme. In fact, some of you might get it from the first title of the first question. But there are a couple of questions where the question title will perhaps lead you to the correct answer. So just, pay attention to those question titles there. All right, here we go. Round 1, question 1. Is this the real life? 7-year-old David DeVore Jr. became internet famous in 2008 when his father recorded him in the backseat of the car after leaving what location?
Okay, so Phil and I discussed this one, and if you're okay, Phil, I think we can lock in, let them discuss.
I'm good with that.
All right, so I seem to remember this video. I don't know how it relates to Is This the Real Life besides that's maybe like a line from the video. Mm-hmm. And I think the kid was like high
Hopped up
like out of his mind from like
being
some
at the
sort
dentist.
some sort of anesthesia.
I definitely remember seeing a great viral like dental anesthesia video.
All right,
So
we'll say dentist or dental surgeon.
Yeah, and we also checked in with the dentist office. Both Neal and I wrote to each other almost immediately with the same exact thing. So yeah, we're also going in with dentist's office.
And points for both teams. It is David after dentist. Yeah, he's in the middle of it. He says something to the effect of, "Is this real life?" and then screams a lot. So
he wasn't doing his best Freddie Mercury, is what you're saying.
Right. It's
weird. I did that last Thursday, but I didn't go viral.
That's you every Thursday.
2008 internet was a wild place.
A gem.
Just really,
I kind of miss those days.
Yeah, right. We're just the weirdest stuff going viral, like the time of old Greg. All right, question 2. Is this just fantasy? The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass are the titles of what critically acclaimed fantasy trilogy written by Philip Pullman?
I actually just finished this trilogy.
Did you?
Like 2 days ago.
Phil, what do you know about the Golden Compass?
Not a lot.
So I believe if this is something Ken has been reading recently, I could be completely wrong. Just going based off of his clue he just gave me. He is a huge Lin-Manuel Miranda fan. Just has posters all over his walls. But I believe the TV show that's based. That I think the books are originally whatever. Anyway, I think it's His Dark Materials, and I think The Golden Compass is one of those. So I think that series is called His Dark Materials.
We're going to also agree with Neal. And per Lin-Manuel Miranda, strange casting. Doesn't do a terrible job in the show, but still
Is he very different from what's written? Or
Well, he's supposed to be like heavily Texan.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he can be Texan, but he doesn't he's not like very cowboyish.
Does he talk in rhyme for the
no,
part?
No.
There's a polar bear over there.
He's pretty good in the show, though.
Okay, well, that's good. I'll check it out.
Not especially like stereotyping Texan, but he's good.
Okay. He's a middle of the road 6.5.
Points to both teams. This is His Dark Materials. Apparently, Neal's Lin-Manuel Miranda impression is John Travolta from Grease. But
John Travolta doing Hamilton.
But, it still counts. Okay, question 3. Caught in a Landslide. Fleetwood Mac's Landslide was first released on their 1975 self-titled album, reaching number 1 on the Billboard charts and selling over 7 million copies. For 3 points apiece, name the 5 members of Fleetwood Mac who recorded that album.
I'll leave it to Jeff.
We can lock in.
Okay. Okay, so Phil, right off the bat, you got Mick Fleetwood, right. And then... where does the Mac come from?
John McVie.
John McVie. Okay, so we got 2 there. So we got Mick and John.
Stevie Nicks. And there's another woman who was married to... Because there were lots of marriages and divorces within the band. I believe she recently passed away. I can't remember her name.
So we have Mick. You said John McVie, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it his wife?
Christy McVie, I believe.
Christine, I think, right?
Christine, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So Mick, John, Stevie, Christine, and then what's the name of that? The one dude who everyone.
Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying. Who Bill Hader plays on SNL all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks, Christine, and John McVie, Mick Fleetwood, right?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, wrote down Mick Fleetwood, Stevie Nicks, and Lindsey Buckingham, John and Christine McVie.
Full 15 points to both teams. Very nice.
Wow.
Nailed it there. I underestimated the Fleetwood Mac knowledge in the room. Love it.
Yeah, Rumors is one of my favorite albums of all time. So.
I thought Jeff would get that, like, hands down. Nice job to the other team.
The only reason
get them all.
The only reason I knew that is there's that TV show out that's based on them, kind of. Daisy Jones and the Six.
Can you name the 3 members of Rush, though?
Yeah. Geddy Lee, Neil Peart, and who's the other one?
I got it. I have it.
I can't remember.
Would you like an Alex Lifeline?
Alex Lifeson. I always forget. I got to remember like Lifeline, Lifeson or something, but yeah.
Moving on to question 4. Look up to the skies and see. What bird, derived from a Quechua word, shares its name with the star of the To All the Boys film series on Netflix?
Okay, Phil and I discussed, and we think we're on the right track, so we're going to lock in.
So it's actually look up to the skies and see the letter C in the category name. So
parentheses.
That could help us.
Or quotations.
Yes. So do we think cardinal, or can you think of another one?
Well, I don't know who the star of the film series is.
Well, me neither.
Can you think of any celebrity or actress with a bird name?
It's probably not somebody terribly famous.
Crane.
Could be Crane.
I don't know any cranes. Chickadee? No.
Yes. That's what we should go with.
All right. You might recognize the actress. She played Jubilee in X-Men Apocalypse. These are fun movies to all the boys I loved before. It's not Lana Chickadee, but we locked in with Lana Condor. So Condor's our answer.
And points to, is it safe? The correct answer is Condor. Yeah, it would have helped on this one. Quechua is a language derived from South America, and there is an Andean condor.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Love the clue of the C in there in quotes.
Yeah. We got another one coming on the next clue here. So get ready. Question number 5. Easy come, Easy go. In 1998, English trip-hop band Massive Attack reached commercial success with the release of what album with a one-word title from the Italian for middle? Depending on the venue, you could sit there while listening to Massive Attack perform the album.
We're locked in.
Matt, this game is like
Except for
my
Condor.
jam. My jam.
So Phil, I'm not sure where your head's at on this one. I don't know the album. I don't know the band that well, but I can kind of suss it out from the clues. What are you thinking?
I'm pretty sure based on the clues, and also I believe there's a Learnly question. I forget when I got it wrong, but my wife got it right a few years ago. It was about middle, and it was mezzanine.
Okay, that's what I was thinking from the theater angle. So mezzanine. I'm good to lock that in if you are.
Yep, I'm good with that too.
Yep, one of my favorite albums of all time, Mezzanine.
And points to both teams. It is Mezzanine. And yeah, easy was in quotation marks on that one.
After 5 questions, it looks like Dustin Hoffman's root canal is still ongoing. They have 45 points, and with 10 points in the lead, Is It Safe with 55, both teams picking up the bonus points of question 3.
All right, going to question 6. Any Way the Wind Blows. The song Any Way the Wind Blows appears in Act 1 of this musical, the 2019 Tony winner for Best Musical. It is performed by Hermes, Eurydice, and the Fates.
Let me know what you think of that, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, the time-wise, that makes that fits. I'm not a huge musical person, but timing-wise, that definitely fits.
Okay, Phil thinks that my answer is correct, so we're going to lock it in.
The only musical I can think of in this sort of genre in the last 6-7 years is Hadestown. Does that sound right to you?
Yep, I don't recognize the song, but it's got to be Hadestown.
Yep. And we locked in with Hadestown.
And you both locked in with the correct response. It is Hadestown.
Sweet.
Question number 7. Mama Just Killed a Man. Excluding stunt doubles and younger versions of the character, 3 actors have portrayed Norman Bates on film and on television. For 5 points each, name them.
Oh, this is you.
I can lock this in for us if you want, Phil.
Okay, I could think of one. So yeah, if you can lock in, yeah, please go right ahead.
All right, so I think I can get to Vince Vaughn comes to mind. He was in the remake.
Really?
With Anne Heche.
No way.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the original guy, and his name's kind of escaping me just at the moment, but give me a minute. Yeah, Jeff, I'm not going to come up with the other guy's name, so unfortunately we'll just stick with Vince Vaughn.
Even if I give you Vera Farmiga or whatever her name is, you can't get the Bates Motel
Jeff,
one?
I can't get the Bates Motel one.
All right.
So these are for 5 points each, so which ones are you locking in with?
Just Vince Vaughn. I can't think of the old guy.
Okay, so yeah, Vince Vaughn was in the remake of, or I guess shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. And then we have Freddie Highmore from Bates Motel, and Anthony Perkins is the original.
Thanks. Yeah, I said Tony. Did you hear me?
Tony, yeah. You were close.
Yeah.
All right, and those were the 3. Nice job, Neal. And that's 5 points to Dustin Hoffman's root canal for the Vince Vaughn, and the full 15 for Is It Safe? Okay, where are we? Question 8. Now I've gone and thrown it all away. The Waste Management Open Golf Tournament, famous for its stadium-style seating and rowdy atmosphere, takes place in what metropolitan area? In 2023, traveling to attend this tournament was extra expensive because the Super Bowl was being played in town the same weekend.
We can lock in, Neal.
Oh, great. I have no idea, so glad you know it.
A couple of years ago, they played in Minnesota since it was the first time in that new stadium. I think it was 2 years ago, LA hosted because SoFi Stadium was brand new. They may have moved it back to Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, we can guess Miami.
All right, so yeah, this is the former Phoenix Open. So it is it's in Metro Phoenix. I believe Waste Management opens in Scottsdale, and then on the other side of town is where the Super Bowl is played
in Glendale.
In Glendale. So yeah, this is a metro area of Phoenix.
And points to Is It Safe? Yeah, this is Phoenix. The Waste Management Open is at the TPC Scottsdale. And yeah, exactly. The Super Bowl was in Phoenix. We were attempting to plan a bachelor party to go to the Waste Management Open and looked at Airbnbs for that weekend, and it was like $10,000, $12,000 a night. It was absolutely ridiculous.
So not worth it.
No, not even close to worth it.
So for those of us that don't know what the Waste Management Open is, i.e. me, what kind of craziness goes on there?
It's like the most frat party of PGA Tour golf tournaments.
Okay.
Like the whole
That's
culture
pretty
is
frat.
get there early and start drinking early. The famous, probably the most famous part of that course is the 16th hole, which is a big par 3, and they line the entire 16th hole with like stadium style bleachers. So there's like 10,000 fans sitting around this one hole. Probably the most famous clip is Tiger Woods made a hole in one there, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there, like in his prime, and the crowd's just like going nuts and throwing beer cups on the green and stuff. It's the opposite of what you'd think of a golf tournament.
So this is the XFL of the
golf tournaments. Yeah, people are chugging beers.
Sounds like an improvement to the sport, though, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, question 9. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow. In 1939, the UK Ministry of Information started a poster campaign to attempt to maintain British morale amid the threat of World War II. 2 of the slogans used in this campaign were, "Freedom is in peril, defend it with all your might," and "Your courage, your cheerfulness, your resolution will bring us victory." What 5-word phrase is the 3rd slogan from this campaign, by far the most recognizable today?
We're elected.
Yep, Phil, you can take this one. This is what happens in studio when we get a question wrong. Usually we say this to each other.
Yep. This is a very common, keep calm and carry on.
Yep, we said the same thing.
Yeah, and then, this was one of the question title hints. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, keep calm and carry on, carry on. Very nicely done. Question 10, last question in round 1. My time has come. Which man, the youngest 4-star general in U.S. history, mistakenly thought his time had come, declaring, "I'm in charge here," after President Reagan was shot by John Hinckley Jr.? He was not actually in charge there, as the Secretary of State sits 4th in the presidential line of succession.
This, Jeff, I have no idea. So if you have a guess, I'll leave it to you. Otherwise, we can take a Lucky Johnson.
Yeah, not having anything better to go on here, we're just going to say Johnson.
Okay, Phil, I'm really kind of at a loss on this one. I'm not too up on my 4-star generals. So do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, you can call me in the middle typing too. So I know Colin Powell was, but he wasn't until George W. Bush. I'm sure he was something under Reagan. I mean, if you're a general and conservative, I mean, in George W. Bush, they had a lot of people who were from the Reagan and George H.W. Bush era. I know that James Baker was, I believe, Secretary of State, but I don't think he was a general. But I know that Baker was part of Reagan's cabinet.
I think, either one of those is better than what I'm going to come up with, because I'm sure it's probably like a random person I've never heard of, and who I'm sure has a decorated career. But yeah, do you want to go Baker or Powell? I'll leave it up to you. I think either of those are a good guess.
Yeah, let's go Baker.
Okay.
And again, we just said Lucky Johnson.
Okay, so we've got Baker and Johnson. We've got our first double stumper of the game. No points. This man's name, who, it is a deeper cut, but he did very famously declare himself in charge of the United States of America at a press conference when he certainly was not.
Wow.
This is Alexander Haig.
Oh, I have heard that name. It's not even just a double stumper. It's the first one that the other team has missed.
That is true. The perfect game has been broken up by a solid single up the middle.
After the first round, it looks like Dustin Hoffman's root canal is going to pick up an extra 25 points, bring their total to 70 even. And Is It Safe is going to be picking up 45 points, bringing their total to 100.
Okay. So the swing round for today is going to pay tribute to one of the greatest pop punk songs of all time. The swing round today is called 1985. And here's how it's going to work. I'm going to give you a world event, and you're going to tell me if this event happened before 1985, in 1985, or after 1985.
This is a good one. Okay.
So before, in, or after?
Correct.
All right.
All right, here are your events for the swing round. Number 1, Mikhail Gorbachev becomes leader of the Soviet Union. Number 2, Ozzy Osbourne bites the head off a bat on stage in Des Moines, Iowa. Number 3, Sony releases the first Walkman. Number 4, the inaugural WrestleMania takes place at Madison Square Garden. Number 5, Stephen Hawking publishes his first edition of A Brief History of Time. Number 6, the Coca-Cola Company debuts New Coke. 7, Apple debuts the Macintosh personal computer. 8, actress Keira Knightley is born. 9, the nuclear reactor at Chernobyl explodes. 10, Thurgood Marshall announces his retirement from the U.S. Supreme Court.
All right, we're going to mull these over, try not to get the song stuck in our head, which it already is, and we'll be back with the answers.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
And we are now back with our answers for the swing round. I'm not particularly good with yours, but it seems Jeff had a pretty good hunch on a lot of these, so see how we did.
I feel okay about guessing.
Jeff loves calendars.
You got a 1 in 3 chance either way.
If he was a Batman villain, Calendar Man.
Calendar Man. Well, you do, and you love the movie Calendar Girls. You love calendars with firemen on it, so hopefully this will help.
Okay, here we go. So again, reminder, our choices are either this happened before 1985, in 1985, or after 1985. Question 1, Mikhail Gorbachev becomes leader of the Soviet Union.
We said that was 1985.
Yeah, and we also said in 1985.
And it was in 1985. Good start. Question 2. Ozzy Osbourne bites the head off a bat on stage in Des Moines, Iowa.
Pretty sure that was early 80s at the latest, so we said before.
We agree. We think this was early 80s, we said before.
And this was in 1982, so that is correct. Question 3. Sony releases the first Walkman.
So we're pretty sure the Walkman precedes the compact disc version. So assuming it was for cassette tapes, we said before.
Yeah, we also said before, I believe this is right around 1980.
It is right around 1980. It's 1979, in fact. So before is correct. Question number 4. The inaugural WrestleMania takes place at Madison Square Garden.
This one we said was 85.
We agree. We think this is 85.
And it was in 1985. Very nice so far.
Surprised how well this is going.
Yeah. Okay. Question 5. Stephen Hawking publishes his first edition of A Brief History of Time.
This one was the first one that really felt more like a toss-up to me, but we said before.
We said after. We didn't really have much to go on with this. We were just looking at this is the last one that we decided on, and we saw we did a little game theory, which I'm not saying Matt didn't tip his hand one way or the other with whether things would be even or not. So, but we just went with it just because it was after, and we didn't have that many afters.
Okay, and it wasn't game theory on purpose, but this was after 1985. This was in 1988. When Hawking came out with A Brief History of Time. Question 6. The Coca-Cola Company debuts New Coke.
We had a lot of befores, so we went after.
Yeah, this one, as I said on the show before, was born in Atlanta, first baby in 1985. My first decree when I opened my mouth was there needs to be a new Coke, so we said 85.
And this was in 1985. Question 7. Apple debuts the Macintosh personal computer.
I thought this was like 83 or 4, so we said before.
Yeah, and we also said before when we were talking about it, when Neal and I were discussing it, I believe that the famous Super Bowl commercial was in 83. So we figured that the actual computer came out in either 83 or 84. So we said before.
Yes, and it did come out in 1984, and they did have the commercial that referenced the Orwell novel. So the Macintosh, 84.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Question 8. Actress Keira Knightley is born.
We think she's on the younger side, so we said after.
Yeah, we had discussed this one, and we think that I share an age with her, so we said in 1985.
And she was born in 1985.
Wow.
Yeah. Question 9. The nuclear reactor at Chernobyl explodes.
We said after.
Yeah, we all said after. I believe this is 86.
And that is correct. It is 86. And finally, question 10. Thurgood Marshall announces his retirement from the U.S. Supreme Court.
We said after.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble with this one, and we just sort of leaned after, and we'll see what happens.
And he announced his retirement from the U.S. Supreme Court in 1991 and was famously replaced by Clarence Thomas. I don't particularly like that trade, but that's just me.
Roll us up, Ken, because we are getting smoked.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do bad in that round, but these guys are just too good.
Yep, you picked up 35 points there in the swing round, bringing your total to 105. And we made up for that lost question in the first round by picking up 50 points, bringing us to 150.
Which is a perfect game, not bonuses aside.
Oh, is it? Well,
150 is the theoretical maximum for a standard game of Triviality through this point.
Oh, because we had the bonus points.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we'll keep it going. But speaking of perfect game of Triviality, we couldn't have any games of Triviality without our patrons. So we'd love to thank all of our patrons at patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. If you're listening to this on the ad-free version, this message is custom made off the cuff just for you. We want to make sure you hear it as well because we want to thank you twice. But Phil and Matt are both patrons of the show. And Matt, I'm just going to put it on you. You get some extra bonus content every month, like some trivia bonuses and also some crop drops. Do you have a preference on hearing us make goofs of ourselves, or do you like the extra trivia per month?
You know, for me, it's the like ad-free and the kind of evening early episodes. The little sneak preview without the ads in the middle. It's a nice listening experience. So I do appreciate that, and is completely worth my small amount of money that I give to you folks for all the great content that you do.
Well, thank you. And that's all Jeff giving you those episodes early. So thank you to Jeff for that. But yeah, if you'd like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. And we're always trying to grow the show and innovate and do something different. And as we said last week and the week before, our whole entire Bloodsport series, 32 competitors, are all patrons. And it's fun to be able to give back to them. So patreon.com/trivialitypodcast.
Okay, let's keep going and let's get back into Bohemian Rhapsody here with round 2.
Is that what this is?
Question number 1, body aching all the time. If your body is aching all the time,
then welcome to your 30s.
You might want to check. You might want to check to see if you have the Epstein-Barr virus, the most common cause of what infectious disease?
Is it possible it's like, I want to say it's an STD, but
very well could be.
Do any of the STDs make your body hurt?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I don't know.
What is that?
Much like the burning during urination.
Burning during urination.
Much like the significant brain damage.
I mean, could it be? I don't think it's like chlamydia or anything. So,
what about like hepatitis? Maybe or.
All right, and after all of that, I know I've had all these STDs apparently, according to Ken, but maybe we just go simple. Simplex, we'll say herpes, maybe.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and we think this is the kissing disease, mono.
Ooh.
And one team is getting points. Yeah, this isn't technically an STD, but, you know, once you get to first base, watch out for this one on your way by. This is mononucleosis or mono or the kissing disease.
That makes a lot of sense.
We're going to catch you guys.
All right.
One question at a time.
The comeback is underway.
We're not the only ones who've caught them all.
Yeah, and mono definitely makes you your body ache everywhere. It's
It does.
I wasn't cool enough in high school to get mono, so.
But neither was I, but I apparently was cool enough as an adult. So, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, question 2.
Nothing has changed for me.
Mono is what you catch. It's like the cooler version of a hickey. It's like, I got mono.
Question 2.
Yep, that's definitely it.
Yep, there we go. Question 2. I've got to go. What character speaks the following line before abruptly disappearing? I regret to announce that, though, as I said, 11 years is far too short a time to spend among you. This is the end. I am going. I am leaving now. Goodbye.
Born out of my apathy or distaste for this franchise, I believe it's Lord of the Rings. And I just got to figure out what character would say this. I regret to announce that, though, as I said, 11 years is far too short a time to spend. This is the end.
Why do you know it's Lord of the Rings?
Because I know 11, because they have weird words like that, like second breakfast or whatever.
Second breakfast is not weird, and it's 2 words.
Or is it fourth breakfast? What is it?
11sies.
11sies. That's what I was looking for. Yes. Regret to announce, though, as I said, 11 years far too short a time to spend among you. This is the end. I'm going. Okay, it's got to be Bilbo because he's leaving. He's going on the tour of the Shire or whatever to go get the ring or the Hobbit.
The tour of the Shire.
Wow, everything you said is just as wrong.
Let me show you around the Shire, dear folk.
From what you said, like the Lord of the Rings characters like fit the way that this sounds.
Oh, and you know what? 11D1. That's now it's ringing a bell of a trivia question because I think that's how old Bilbo is. He has a birthday party. He's like, I'm 11D1, and then I don't know if that's the time he has the weird scary face thing, but
it's taking form in Neal's mind.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. But I'm pretty sure this is Bilbo from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, you're right. It's Bilbo.
Is this when he has the weird crazy face and he
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not yet. Every listener who likes Lord of the Rings had an aneurysm listening to that recap.
I think we're gonna cut as much of that as possible to spare the innocent.
But yes, this is Bilbo Baggins.
Nice. Well, anyways, let's move on to question.
Okay. Question 3. Sometimes wish I'd never been born at all.
Amen.
Turritopsis doornhi is a species of what animal that has gotten the nickname immortal on account of its ability to revert back to its own polyp stage and reset its life cycle?
So, Jeff, I've heard of a certain immortal animal, and this animal could have a polyp stage, so let's lock it in.
So, Phil, Gilbert and Sullivan never got to the Turritopsis musical, but I'm thinking it might be a jellyfish. The Turritopsis is ringing a bell for maybe like a question I wrote a long time ago, but what are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, jellyfish is good. I know that frogs have a weird like life cycle where they can I don't know all the details, but I know that there's like frogs can restart their life cycles in like from like tadpole stage, and they're kind of like an evolutionary mystery. I know the eels are an evolutionary mystery as well, but jellyfish makes sense just because they're such weird. They're such like just weird creatures.
Well, that's if you. So I'm not a science person, but if you want to go with it, that's fine. But if I'm wrong, I will take complete responsibility because I know nothing of science. It makes me think of jellyfish.
I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm good with jellyfish. That's fine.
Okay, we'll lock in with peanut butter and jellyfish.
So I have heard of the immortal jellyfish, which I thought would be a good like psych rock band name.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So we're gonna say the immortal jellyfish.
Points to both teams. This is the immortal jellyfish. All right.
The migraine hasn't kicked in that much yet, so we're okay, Phil. Very well.
Question 4. I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche. Though he is also gone by Johnny Curtis, as well as the Portuguese Sun Dragon. Pro wrestler Curtis Hussey is best known under what one-word ring name? His ballroom dancer gimmick and catchy theme song made him a fan favorite upon the character's WWE main roster debut in 2013.
All right, Phil and I are going to lock in. So, Jeff, I don't know. Would it be the guy with the money guy? what's his name? The like $1 billion man or Mr. Millions or whatever that guy's name was.
You're thinking of Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
Mm.
Ballroom dancer.
So not that. So we
Fortunately
have no idea, Jeff.
Can you think of a one-word wrestler?
No. Sting. Because I don't want to be in this question forever. So let's just say Sting.
So they're going with Sting. So Phil, right when I restarted watching wrestling, this guy was around. He was interacting with the Bellas and the other female superstars on Total Divas quite a bit. And he had a lot of hip thrusts and pelvic thrusts. So we're going to lock in with Fandango, or to the song Fandango, because we think it fits in with the lyrics.
And indeed, if you followed the Scaramouche, will you do the Fandango is the correct response.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, that's the only reason I knew that is because I know who this guy is.
And love purchasing movie tickets the old-fashioned way.
That's true. Actually,
not the old-fashioned way, but
right.
the old-fashioned way.
The new old-fashioned.
I actually have a Fandango gift card that I haven't used, I think, in like 7 years, but it still has like $12 on it. So it's somewhere.
You can almost see a movie.
Almost, yeah, nowadays, yeah.
Question 5. Thunderbolt and lightning. The Catatumbo River flows into what body of water that has become known as the lightning capital of the world, experiencing 233 lightning strikes per square kilometer per year? It shares its name with a South American non-capital city.
Phil, you're writing down 2 guesses to my 0 because I'm not up on this, but what are you thinking?
And I, like I said in our chat, I'm kind of stuck in Colombia for some reason. I can't. So I'm trying to think of like. I know like Brazil, there are a bunch of cities I can name. Other South American countries other than like Colombia, I can't think of any others. So I thought Cartagena, I believe is how you pronounce it. I know it's not pronounced medallion, but I know it's spelled almost like medallion.
Well, I think
you're talking about Medellin?
Medellin, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm awful with...
I think you're stuck in Colombia because it's always Christmas there, as we know. But
yeah.
What was your first guess? I like...
Cartagena.
Yeah, do you want to just...
Because I know there's like a lot of water like around there. So I know people and like people I know, then also just like the really dumb influencer types who like go there and like will take like private cruises to do like photo shoots and garbage, but I know people who go there actually to have like a good vacation. So I know there's lots of water around it. So
let's go with the dumb influencers and see if they're right.
All right, so we'll lock in with Cartagena.
Originally, Ken, I was thinking of Lake Titicaca, which I believe just might be because of how high it is.
Bless you.
But I think this is I think Maracaibo is a lake and a city, so we're gonna go with Lake Maracaibo.
One team is getting points. You had to move next door from Colombia to Venezuela. It is Lake Maracaibo.
Wow.
Yeah, nice
Very
job.
Nicely done.
That was all me.
Well done. Yeah.
Lies.
All right.
So after 5 in the second round, it looks like Dustin Hoffman's Root Canal picking up 40 big points, bringing their total to 145. And Is It Safe picking up 30 points, bringing them to 180.
I think we're going to run out of runway before we can get this one
we'll
to
catch
take
him in the
off.
final.
So.
Matt's bringing the heat right now, so he's got his closer in. So I don't know. I'm a little worried.
All right. For question 6, we're going to borrow a conceit from our friends over at the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. This is going to be a David and Goliath style question. So how it works is there are going to be 2 questions, one a little easier for fewer points and one a little harder for more points. And you're going to choose which one you want to answer. If you get it right, you get those points. If you get it wrong, you get 0, even if you knew the answer to the other one. So choose wisely. And instead of David or Goliath, it's going to be Galileo or Figaro. For 6 points, Galileo Galilei's work gave much greater credence to the heliocentric model for the universe, where what heavenly body was the center of our solar system? Or, for 12 points, the famous Figaro, Figaro, Figaro aria originated in what opera by Gioacchino Rossini?
We can do the Goliath if you want to lock in, Phil.
Okay, so we know that the sun is the center in the heliocentric model.
Correct.
Helio being sun. is Figaro, 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 is that Barbara of Seville?
I think, yeah. Based on my Looney Tunes knowledge, I believe it is.
Okay. We swinging for it?
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's not the Marriage of Figaro. It's Barbara of Seville. Yeah.
Okay. That's what we'll lock in with for the Goliath swing here.
Okay. In order to feed our sponsor, Billy Bob Thornton's Goliath on Amazon Prime, we think Figaro is in the marriage. I'm just kidding. It's Barbara of Seville. So that's what we locked in as well.
And both teams getting points. Yep, you avoided the trap. The Marriage of Figaro was written by Mozart. Rossini wrote The Barber of Seville, featuring a barber named Figaro. So full 12 points to both teams on that one. Nicely
Thank you, Bugs Bunny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looney Tunes is just a cultural touchstone for everybody, and made opera more interesting. Let's be honest. Question 7, Mamma Mia. From 1992 until his 2023 retirement, actor Charles Martinet has, with the notable exceptions of 2 feature films, voiced the title character of what multimedia franchise?
Okay, we are going to lock in over here.
So there was much sort of discussion around this actor performing in a movie this year as opposed to Chris Pratt.
Here we go.
So I thought Chris Pratt did a fine job, and I thought too much Charles Martinet would have been a little annoying in the movie, although he is a perfect Mario for the games.
Is this Mario? From
It's
the Mario twins?
Mario. Yeah, I agree with Ken. I thought Pratt was fine. But yeah, I think it would have gotten a little tedious with him going, it's me, the whole movie.
I wasn't taken out of it as much as I was anticipating.
Yeah,
so.
We locked in with Mario as well.
And points to both teams. Yeah, this question was written before Charles Martinet announced his retirement, so it got a little bit easier after that because he got some press. But yes, Charles Martinet, not in addition to voicing Mario, also does Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi. So the whole gang.
Do you think he dreams in Mario's voice ever?
I would hope not for his sake, because I think that might get a little bit much.
Are we getting a meta film now where it's Charles Martinet in Dreamland?
Oh.
Hello.
Maybe, yeah. It's a Videodrome.
Kirby's the one in Dreamland.
Videodrome, to do a callback to earlier, but it's Charles Martinet with Mario coming through the TV screen.
I'd watch for 15 to 20 minutes.
Question 8. Let me go. What character lets Alec Trevelyan go during the climax of a 1995 film, dropping him into the center of a massive satellite dish in the Caribbean jungle? Alex survives the fall, but not the ensuing collapse of the dish right on top of him.
We go from Maracaibo to Maracaibo. I like it.
We're locked in.
Phil, we just talked about this. I think you know this one as well. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, we both believe it's from the movie Goldeneye. It's James Bond.
This is one of Sean Bean's many acclaimed deaths, James Bond.
And both teams are correct. It is James Bond in one of my personal favorite.
For England, James?
James Bond's.
But is he really dead?
for me.
We should just start that rumor. Is he really dead in that movie?
Oh, he's dead.
I mean, he barely
he's really dead.
I don't know if there's any other movie character who's more dead.
He barely even drives an Aston in that film.
That's true. Jeff and I saw Xenia Onatopp on the streets of New York City.
That's true.
Not in garb, but the actress.
Yeah, that would have been very jarring.
Yeah. in full costume and Russian accent. Okay, question 9. A Devil Put Aside for Me. Songwriter Travis Meyer tells the story of Satan challenging a pot dealer to a battle of the stashes in what aptly named song that parodies and borrows almost all its title from a 1979 Southern rock hit by Charlie Daniels.
All right, we're going to go ahead and lock in with a guess here.
Okay, so we talked about this one. Phil, you said that the Charlie Daniels song is The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Is that right?
Right.
And so we're trying to figure out if it borrows most of the title. It's probably The Devil Went Down to Somewhere. And we're talking about a pot dealer in a battle of stashes. So yeah, Phil and I were talking about it, and we thought it would work for it to be The Devil Went Down to Jamaica. So that's what we're going to lock in with.
Could be.
I think we were inspired by Snoop, right? Just straight up.
And NWA, of course.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we're going to say Devil Went Down to Compton.
That's a good guess, too.
Okay, one team is getting points. It is The Devil Went Down to Jamaica.
Oh.
No way.
Nice
That's
job,
crazy.
Neal.
Very well guessed there.
Compton would have been my second guess, actually, so it was a really good guess, too.
I mean, everybody loves talking about the city of Compton, so
Yeah.
I figured.
All right, and our final question of the regular round, question 10, nothing really matters. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche is most commonly associated with what ism that maintains the ideology that all values are baseless and meaningless and that nothing can be truly known. It is unclear how heavily lingonberry pancakes factor into this belief system.
Yeah. I think we're just going to go ahead and lock in. I'm not even going to get started on this, Ken.
Because the answer doesn't really matter anyways.
Because our episodes usually run about an hour, and I don't want to do that to you today. So
whether we get this right or wrong doesn't matter in the long run. So
no,
we'll
not at all. I mean,
lock in.
the points don't matter. The winner doesn't matter.
So, Phil, I think
unless we lose, then it matters. But
Phil, I think your suggestion is right. You wrote down nihilism. Is that right?
Yeah, nihilism. I mean, the Lincolnberry pancakes. I mean, is this a reference to the nihilist in The Big Lebowski having breakfast with
Peter Stormare?
Yeah, and the one woman having her missing her pinky toe that supposedly belonged to Bunny, but
yeah, let's go with it. I like it.
yes, and we went with the what is, in my opinion, the apotheosis of philosophical ideas. We said nihilism.
Yes, they believe in nothing, Lebowski. It is nihilism.
Now,
Very well
are
done.
you sure you used the word apotheosis?
Yes,
correctly?
I exalt it. So
okay.
Well, after regulation there, as we said, Matt was bringing in the heat towards the end. Team Dustin Hoffman's Root Canal is going to echo one of their favorite Samuel L. Jackson movies, 187, also a penal code. And team over here at Is It Safe is going to be picking up 52 points, bringing their total to 232. So we're looking at 232 to 187.
Okay, for our final round today, it is going to be more of a tribute to Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody. So our titles for our final round questions are Mercury, May, Taylor, Deacon, and Queen. I'll give you some content areas here. Mercury is going to be a science/pop culture question. May is about space. Taylor is about music. Deacon is about sports. And Queen is literally about the band Queen.
All the wagers are now locked in, so let's go ahead and get the questions.
Okay, here are our questions for the final round. Mercury. What term is a nickname for the element mercury, as well as a comic book character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and a company that is one of the largest purveyors of surfwear in the world? Question number 2, May. On May 5th, 1961, what astronaut became the first American into space aboard the Freedom 7 space capsule? This astronaut would later return to space as the commander of the Apollo 14 mission, making him the only one of the famed Mercury 7 astronauts to walk on the moon. Question 3, Taylor. What's better than one Taylor? How about two? Since its founding in 1994, Courtney Taylor Taylor has been lead singer and guitarist for what alt-rock band with a particularly artistic name? Their biggest mainstream success has come with the songs Bohemian Like You and We Used to Be Friends. Question 4, Deacon. NFL Hall of Famer Deacon Jones, one of the greatest players to ever play for the LA Rams, had what nickname? Also a federal government position currently held by Lloyd Austin. And finally, question 5, Queen. Queen's now legendary 1985 set at Live Aid consisted of 6 songs, as well as Freddie Mercury's call and response with the Wembley Stadium crowd. Bohemian Rhapsody opened the set, and the We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions back-to-back closed things out. Name any of the other 3 songs played by the band in that set.
We have our questions. We'll be right back with our answers after these messages. We are back to find out who will be today's cream of the crop with these final answers. Let's get the questions one more time, please.
All right, here we go. Question number 1, Mercury. What term is a nickname for the element mercury, as well as a comic book character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and a company that is one of the largest purveyors of surfwear in the world?
We have done 30s all the way down to try to squeeze out this victory. It seemed like the other team was pretty confident in their answers, so we don't know what's going to happen. But for this first question, we said Quicksilver.
And we wagered 30 on this one. We agree, Quicksilver.
And points to both teams. The correct answer is Quicksilver. Question number 2, May. On May 5th, 1961, what astronaut became the first American into space aboard the Freedom 7 space capsule? This astronaut would later return to space as the commander of the Apollo 14 mission, making him the only one of the famed Mercury 7 astronauts to walk on the moon.
We said Alan Shepard for this one.
And we also said Shepard for number 2.
How many points?
25.
And that is correct. It is Alan Shepard. Love a good astronaut question. Question 3, Taylor. What's better than one Taylor? How about 2? Since its founding in 1994, Courtney Taylor Taylor has been lead singer and guitarist for what alt-rock band with a particularly artistic name? Their biggest mainstream success has come with the songs Bohemian Like You and We Used to Be Friends.
We agonized over this one, again, for 30 points. The only artsy name we could think of for a band was the Rembrandts, so that's what we said.
And we came up with a different artist. We said the Dandy Warhols.
One team is getting points. The correct answer is the Dandy Warhols. Rembrandts is a good guess, though. There are more artistic based band names the more you think about it. Okay, question 4, Deacon. NFL Hall of Famer Deacon Jones, one of the greatest players to ever play for the LA Rams, had what nickname? Also a federal government position currently held by Lloyd Austin.
I believe Austin is our current Secretary of Defense, so that's what we said.
Yep, and we also said Secretary of Defense, not to be confused with Reggie White, who is the Minister of Defense. But yeah, Deacon Jones was Secretary of Defense.
And points to both teams. It is the Secretary of Defense. And finally, Queen. Queen's now legendary 1985 set at Live Aid consisted of 6 songs, as well as Freddie Mercury's call and response with the Wembley Stadium crowd. Bohemian Rhapsody opened the set, and the We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions back-to-back closed things out. Name any of the other 3 songs played by the band in that set.
I feel like Radio Gaga was in there, but I couldn't quite be sure. Same with the one that we ultimately chose, which is Under Pressure.
Yep, and for 30 points, we weren't sure if this inspired Stephanie's name, but we said Radio Gaga.
Okay, one team is getting points on this one.
Oh, no.
Those 3 songs in the set were Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Hammer to Fall, and Radio Gaga.
After doing all the calculations, it looks like Dustin Hoffman's root canal is finished, but he's going to have to take another visit to get that fixed by an endodontist, our friend Taylor Cook in Pittsburgh. They picked up 30 points, bringing their total to 217, and team Is It Safe picking up 145, bringing their total to 377, making Phil today's cream of the crop.
Oh my God, you guys, you're like the cream of the crop right now.
Let's just hope that Taylor is more gentle than Sir Laurence Olivier.
I hope so. It'll probably be just as theatrical, but less painful, we hope. Phil, thank you so much. You answered most of these questions, so I appreciate you being on my team.
You guys were unstoppable.
Yeah, that was one of the best scores possibly ever. So
Well, and the ones that I was absolutely have no idea on. Thankfully, Neal and his pop culture mind took those right away. So it was definitely a good pairing.
And apologies to Lord of the Rings fans. I appreciate Bilbo. But Phil, thank you for being my teammate today, and thank you for just a great game. We'll have to partner up again sometime. But if any lasting final words before we let you go today.
No, this is fun to get back on here. I know I've been emailing or messaging with Neal back and forth a little bit about potentially some ideas for potential like Patreon theme games that I've pitched to him. So hopefully to host something maybe in early 2024 based on the calendar that we discussed. So keep your eyes open, especially for a couple of my favorite TV shows of all time that I've pitched to Neal.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah, we're excited for that. Well, thanks, Phil. And I'm going to reach out to you privately for some running advice. But before we let you run away, we got to say thank you to Matt. That was a great game. The questions were really well written, so awesome across so many different topics. And thank you for putting the game together. We know how much work that is. But any words before we let you go today, Matt?
It's always fun to be on and get to play a little trivia with y'all. Thanks for having me. Everybody listening out there, go subscribe to Patreon. And if you are a sports trivia person or a sports person or a trivia person or none at all, frankly, if you don't like sports at all but still want to listen to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, you have my permission. So go give those a listen as well.
I know Matt's been training very, very hard for Bloodsport as well, spending a lot of time in the meat locker.
Yep.
Just pounding on raw meat.
I'm going to go. I'm right
so
after this. I'm going to go. Yeah.
You took out the time to host and write this game, so we really appreciate it.
Those have been my breaks in between running up to the tops of mountains and wrestling bears in order to get ready for Bloodsport. I've really been getting out. Really been getting out into the wilderness and just becoming one with nature, and I think that's really going to help me channel my inner violence in the Bloodsport.
All right, and well, Matt, we'll end it with this for all the listeners out there who want to be on Jeopardy. You were on Jeopardy. Is it easier to pound meat before Bloodsport or study before Jeopardy?
It's I would say it's really even. Surprisingly, the violent combat does help prepare for Jeopardy. It really gets you in that mindset to really attack the buzzer, stare death daggers into Ken Jennings, and really make him feel intimidated. He may have won a few more games than me on Jeopardy, but I think I really got his number.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to both of you, Phil and Matt, for being here today, and for Matt, who wasn't here today, for Jeff and Ken. My name is Neal, and that was another episode of your neighborhood favorite, Triviality.